Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Silver Screen Shenanigans podcast. My name is Devin, and the question of the day is, if you had to choose a superpower from a current superhero, DC, Marvel, whatever, I don't care.
The universes.
Yeah. Which one would it be? For me, I think the easy one, obviously, would be Superman, because you can just win everything. But for fun, I think it'd always be cool to have, like, Magneto's power, because, I mean, everything. Like, when you look around this room, there's metal everywhere.
Hi, I'm Jacob, and I was going to be so mad if you said mine, and I thought you're going to.
What is
It's
it?
Spider-Man's.
Spider-Man's pretty cool.
Oh,
Well,
I
like
would take Spider-Man.
new Spider-Man or old Spider-Man? Like
Like,
Tobey Maguire,
new.
where it comes out of his arms, or new, where you have to build your own.
Jeffrey, you
web
better
shooters?
answer. You better answer this carefully, because there's a right answer.
I'd be Tobey Maguire.
Nope, wrong
That is-
answer.
That's the correct answer.
No,
That
it's
is
not.
the correct.
That's
Why,
not,
why
that's not
wouldn't
the.
it be?
You
That's
have
not.
to
That's not
physically
Spider-Man, bro.
make your spider web.
5
so that
seconds
you will
in,
run
and
out.
we're-
No, I do want to hear just a little bit of this, Devin. Why?
Because
is
that's not the comic book Spider-Man.
Well,
Spider-Man, it comes out of the gadget that he makes.
I get that, but Tobey Maguire's still smart. He is still Spider-Man. He could make those if he
Doesn't
wants
make a
to.
small gadget to help it come out?
No, it just comes out of his wrist in that movie, which is weird.
But the thing is, like, I'm thinking practical. Like, there's so many times Spider-Man in the movies and comics has ran out of webs. Or, like, his
That's
web
why he made a
shooters
thing
were-
that it recharges itself.
But also, they can break.
You
They
just
can
put
be
spiders in his arms.
Yeah.
Oh,
no, but like even the gadget can break. Like think of like Andrew Garfield's where he just breaks them.
Yeah, but that's a bad Spider-Man movie.
I like them all, but even then, that is 100% a practical thing that happened. You can't break the spider web making thing in his wrist.
right. If he breaks his arms, I'm sure he could probably still use them.
You
Yeah,
can still use them.
Controversial nerd opinion. We should watch the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. They're not as good as the.
Anyway.
I'm Riley. I'd say my superpower that I would want, I'd have to go, I'm going to say Deadpool. Just having
Deadpool's
the
fun.
absolute, like, regenerative factor as well as the amped up, like, perception. Because he
So,
can
Riley, I'm
perceive
curious. So in the comic books, he has the power to break the fourth wall.
Yeah.
So in real life, how are you gonna break the fourth wall?
Dude, I stare off into the corner and talk to myself
Gym-
all the time.
The gym stare.
Every day. Like, every day, almost every hour.
And you're the only superhero that knows Stan Lee died.
Correct.
I got a question for you.
What's up?
Are you willing to take the negative side effects of being Deadpool?
Like what?
Having an ugly
Talking to myself in my head?
No, like you are wrinkled all the.
I mean, that's fine
They
because
make beauty
you're
cream.
you're always in a suit, so like, who cares?
Yeah, you
That
can wear a
too.
mask all the time and you're a
I was
superhero, so
thinking
everybody
that,
already
but
knows
like
you.
you can't just like do your whole day in the suit.
Oh, yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
sure you
can.
could.
No, you'd be
Yes, you can.
sweating. It'd get nasty.
Dude, you just take a
You?
shower. Just take a shower in it.
Well,
Yeah,
Problem
also,
solved. I'm washing me and my
people who
clothes.
sweat a lot probably would, but like somebody like me, I'd probably.
Or
be
when you
fine.
take
don't
this,
sweat.
or when you take the suit off, you put a Hugh Jackman magazine cover over your face.
Yeah.
I get hot. I don't sweat.
No, we ignored that.
Oh,
Okay.
I
No.
thought- I'm Emma, and I would have to say probably mine was Spider-Man, but I guess since Jacob is Spider-Man,
All the way.
There's cooler powers.
you know, there really are. I think invisibility would be pretty
pretty cool.
pretty sweet, but also having that strength too. So like invisibility, but also strong.
Ooh, that's broken. That's real broken.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
what's the superhero from Fantastic Four who's invisible? Invisigirl?
Is that her name actually? Invisigirl?
I don't.
Something like that.
I hope not.
Her body's made out of crystals,
Uh,
so that's why she's see-through, and she's super strong.
Or even no. Okay, I got it. Okay, I don't want to be invisible. I want to be basically Superman. All of his powers, strength,
Omni-Man?
flying, and then having Harry Potter's invisibility cloak. Boom, 2 in 1.
What?
What do
you
you mean
can't
that's
just
two in-
bring in the
Absolutely.
Susan Storm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that girl.
Is
Two
Weapon
in
X or whatever a thing in the comics where
Weapon
they
X.
combine a bunch of people?
Weapon
with
X
powers?
is Wolverine.
Not X. I mean, you know what I mean though. Like the
Deadpool.
botched
Right, that
X-Men
would be
movie
Deadpool.
that had Deadpool in it,
Uh huh.
like where
He
they
was
brought
Weapon X.
like the laser eyes, the arms, the regeneration.
Yeah, we can get to that. We can talk about it. We can talk about how bad that movie is. But speaking of superpowers, our good old Merc with a Mouth has superpowers in this film, and you probably know who he is. He goes by the name of Deadpool. This movie came out in 2016, which thank God it got an R rating because it would have blown with a PG-13 rating.
Can I say something real quick related to that? Me and Emma were looking for the movie last night, and it was like, oh, it's a Marvel movie, right?
Oh my
So-
gosh.
The first place we looked was Disney Plus.
Yeah.
This movie is not on Disney Plus for many, many, many good reasons.
And we
Which,
got-
as Riley and I were talking about, Disney Plus Marvel, because Disney owns everything, they own the X-Men now.
Yeah.
And Deadpool's in the X-Men. So,
but
Well, he's
it
not in the.
is-
I mean, he's not in the X-Men. He's
Yeah,
in
he is.
They're
X-Force.
trying to
he's
get.
in X-Force.
but is
So Deadpool is in the MCU.
He's in the MCU.
Which
The
is-
movie,
yeah.
Which
the
that's good.
movie universe
Which
as well.
that's because he's playing. You guys seen the YouTube video of him playing video games with Korg?
yes.
Confirmed.
Dude.
Huh.
He's new Master 69.
I just hope that like that they make the third movie
Mhm.
and they put it on Disney Plus. But
Ooh.
it has
See,
but
that's
it
why
has to have like a parental warning where you have to re-sign into
that's where I'm worried
or something.
that a Deadpool's movie is going to be made by Disney.
Yeah.
But
That's-
that's
I'm
the
worried.
thing is like then Disney's gonna be like that. Like Disney's gonna start having. It's not gonna be like that childhood nostalgia.
They have all of the Infinity War, which
But those
rated-
don't have like
is it-
nude scenes and a
This is
bunch of
true.
Yeah.
cussing.
True.
A
What's
bunch
it-
of cussing.
We weren't even like 10 minutes in, I think, and we saw him and
yeah.
That lady.
So-
Well, the Eternals does. Oh, spoiler alert. Anywho, but so yeah, cast. Well, directed by Tim Miller, writers Rhett Reese and Paul Wiernick. Stars obviously Ryan Reynolds. Who's she?
Her name is. I think it starts.
Marina. Yeah, Marina. Karen, something like that. I don't know. It's his wife. It's his and then T.J. Miller who plays Weasel.
Weasel, something like that.
Weasel. Yeah.
It's a shame. It really is.
wait, what's the shame?
TJ Miller.
He's got arrested.
He got
We
well,
did what?
Yeah. He got into some very bad legal trouble.
Yeah, that guy.
yeah. He looks
He's funny.
interesting.
Like, don't get me wrong. He's
Yeah.
really funny. And like he had a competition in stand up where he just went up on stage with no prep and he just had to go boom live in front of a crowd for 5 minutes. He did really like he is.
His mustache though is
He's
hilarious.
He's like he does a fantastic job.
Yeah, no,
At
he's
comedy.
very comically
He's
inclined.
just not a good person.
But he, so what happened was a couple years ago, he called a fake bomb threat on an airplane because he was drunk and there was,
Thought it would be funny.
no, there was a person who was acting kind of shady, but like he was drunk enough to where anything was acting shady.
Mm-hmm.
And he called a bomb threat on just some lady who was just trying to live her life.
Have you
So-
seen his? He doesn't have a beard, but he has a mustache and the sideburns, and they.
Oh yeah.
It's
They
so.
combined?
Oof.
Yes, they combine. No beard. Oh
Oof.
gosh. But anyways, we get introduced to Deadpool in a fight scene
Mhm.
in the first, which is actually, I thought it was like the end of the movie, like towards kind of the middle. I was like, oh, the beginning is the end, but it's not.
Yeah, kind
It's-
of like a John Wick thing.
Right, yeah. But basically Deadpool is he's trying to chase this guy Francisco.
Francis?
Oh, is it
Francis.
His name is
Francis.
just straight up Francis.
You know
It's
who,
not
you know what I was
Francisco.
Okay, Riley, you know what I was thinking about is
Actually,
the
Ajax.
San
okay.
Francisco.
No, I
Oh.
was thinking about the movie Elf, and when he's in the corner and he's like Francisco. Okay, sorry, Francis, who basically the story. I mean, do we want to go on the story behind how he became Deadpool first, or we just
Well,
want to go through
That's
movie
in the middle
scenes?
of the movie.
Well, yeah, but like it's his story.
Yeah. I mean, so we'll get there. I think let's just work our way through how the movie was set up.
It does do. What's interesting about this movie? It does do a lot of jumping back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
But it never at any point am I confused of like where we're at, which I think that's
Right.
a pretty good credit to the movie that are like, okay, we're here,
Mhm.
and now we're here, and now we're here,
It
and
really
then for the
does a
good
great job.
and then for a good chunk at the end, it stays in the present, which is good.
Yeah.
I think this is one of the only movies besides like Pulp Fiction, I think, does it as well. Doesn't it?
Does what?
I've never
Where
seen
it-
Pulp
I
Fiction.
haven't seen it.
Yikes.
Where it bounces around in time.
I mean, a lot of movies do that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't get confused at it though.
Right. Yeah, I know what you mean.
So yeah.
But yeah, he's huge fight scene with all these guys.
Give him a guy a wedgie.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, so that's just the opening credit scene.
The opening credit scene is hilarious.
It is.
It's like we can't say most of what it says.
correct.
But like if you watch the movie, like the credits at the beginning, it's like produced by
a bunch of rich guys or
Mhm.
something like that.
Yeah,
and
rich
then-
guys.
starring God's perfect idiot, Ryan Reynolds.
Starring
It
a
has-
hot girl.
That has a
yeah.
card of the Green Lantern and one of the bad guys' wallet in his pocket.
It's like a totally CGI'd character.
Yes, CGI. A lot of
moody
CGI.
a moody teen. And it's like that's just how every credit should be.
Absolutely.
Because if I read all that, I'm like, all right, I got it. I know who everybody is.
Stop taking it so seriously. I mean, honestly, we don't care who the names are. We'll read that at the end. Make it
That's-
funny.
That is where Deadpool excelled
Yeah.
in 2016.
Well, and that's kind of how we get introduced to Deadpool's personality. Is he doesn't take anything seriously.
No.
I mean, him as a person, like him in like his actual person before he was Deadpool. Yes,
I'd
kind
say
of.
with one person he's serious.
Right right.
Vanessa,
one
he's
thing.
serious. But yeah, with everybody, he's called the Merc with a mouth.
Even before.
And I'll just get it out of the way now. X-Men Origins Wolverine, when they made Deadpool, when they sewed his mouth shut, that is a travesty. It is the worst decision
He's a merc
ever.
with a mouth, and
they
they take it
got
away.
rid of his mouth.
So I had so many things wrong with that. One, somehow Deadpool had laser eyes in that.
And the
Right,
sword.
because he was Weapon X.
Right.
Exactly.
He
and,
is the one.
Which
they
didn't make
made.
sense because Wolverine was Weapon X.
and then the swords coming out of his arms didn't make sense because he's supposed to be like. They had it right in the beginning of that movie where
How does that even work? Like,
So it
because
was-
it works right because Wolverine. Okay,
Wolverine has the power.
we'll back in. I gotta clear this up real quick, but we'll get back into Deadpool. Wolverine's makes sense because they just go right into his wrist right here.
Well, his are his bones,
Right.
and that guy's is.
It goes-
I'm
it goes-
assuming it's his.
I know, but like
his
how
femur or
like
his,
how long does that have to be?
what's up here?
His arm.
you got your owner, your raider.
That's what it is. The radius.
radius.
I'm assuming that's what it was
I just like
his radial
where does
arm.
it fit though? That's my thing.
in his arm.
I do
Because
like.
like it's the Wolverines are like three separate like bones
Yeah.
that fit there, and they like push out
His
and
came
push
out
him.
of the middle of his hand, so I'm assuming it's straight up.
It
From
was
his
on
arm.
top. It was on top.
It came
Or
out
just
right,
even then.
right here. Like I don't know. It looks super long to
whatever.
be in that part.
We're
of his
doing a
arm.
whole bunch of hand gestures. So this isn't great
You
for.
can't see what we're doing a bunch of suggestive hand gestures, and you can't see what we're doing.
And then I did like one thing from that movie.
Uh-oh.
How he got like the the diamonds on his eyes, right? Because like it wasn't a costume.
Because I mean he's supposed to have those because he's Deadpool.
Yeah, and so when he used the laser eyes, it gave him the diamonds. But
But yeah, real
Okay.
quick, that's just our thoughts about that movie that stars Deadpool. That whole movie's garbage.
I like the magician guy in that. His powers are pretty cool.
All right, we're gonna
Oh.
we're gonna pretend like it doesn't
Yeah,
exist.
Gambit's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
But yeah, he's got this pistol.
Oh,
Wait,
right.
No.
Yeah.
Wait,
I think we jump back.
to how? Wait, to we get like introduced to like his friends at the bar and stuff, like what he does for them.
So I can't remember.
No,
right
it's
now.
the apartment.
So it's either it jumps to when he's in the car, like the cab, or it jumps
Yes.
to Back in the Future.
No, he is in the cab.
Okay.
Messing with the window. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's in the cab, and he forgot his ammo bag, but he has a gun on him, and he only has 12 bullets, and there's a ton of guys that he has to kill.
Oh yeah, we
City
meet
guy.
Dopinder.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the he's
taxi
a
driver?
taxi cab driver.
Yeah, Deadpool crawls up into the front seat and he's like,
Oh,
"Sorry, it's
lonely.
getting a little lonely back there."
Yes.
He's like, and then I can't remember how it goes off. He's like, I'm starting to think fate put me on. He's like, I'm starting to think we met here
No,
for a
okay,
reason.
because
The daffodil daydream, and because he was talking about how love. Sorry, Emma.
Yeah, fine.
Is that what you're gonna talk about?
Well, yes, I was gonna say he was in
Go ahead,
love,
Go ahead.
and he wants this girl, but his cousin got the girl, and his cousin.
Dopinder does.
Yes. And Ryan
Gita.
did Deadpool. He's like, well, I'm starting to think this is fate because we both, or something like we both love, or
I'm starting to think we met here for a reason. Yeah, because you called the tab.
Yeah,
called the cab.
'cause you
remember?
called
No, my slender brown friend.
But he drops him off, and he's like, "Oh shoot, forgot my wallet. How about a high five?"
2750s. Oh, I don't carry my
don't
wallet on
carry
me at work.
wallet on me.
It puts creases in the suit. But how about a crisp high five?
And he
then
takes it.
And then he's listening to Shoop with the Walkman,
Yes.
which this was
And it
2016.
says wait on
2016.
it.
It's 2016, and he has a
Yeah.
Walkman.
It said wait on it. It would like a piece of tape and like marker.
And yeah, he's coloring with crayons, like him shooting the bad guys of like the scene that's about to happen. And then we get our, well, I guess it's not the first wall break, because in the taxi cab he throws the gum at the camera.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, sorry about that." And he like takes like he's interacting with the camera, so it's like he's already breaking the fourth wall. But then he's actually talking to us, and he explains how he's like, "How did I get my very own movie? Whose balls did I have to
Right.
fondle?"
Yes.
I'll tell you,
Rhymes
it
with
rhymes with.
Wolverine.
That's so good.
He's got a nice pair of testes down under.
There's so many.
Apparently, Hugh Jackman did
lines.
have influence in like making this movie, because like within the realm, this is when still like X-Men was still with whoever they were owned by.
Sony? They were
Yeah,
owned by
was it
They were
Sony?
owned by multiple companies because everybody kept failing.
Because Hugh Jackman was Wolverine, he had some pull.
A little bit. Just a little bit. Actually, super fun fact. The first time I heard about Hugh Jackman and the first time I ever saw him, I have not seen the Wolverine movies. First time I saw him was Greatest Showman. Did not know this kid
Like
existed.
really, like any of the Wolverine.
And none of them. No, I did
Have you
not
seen them
know
now?
that Hugh Jackman existed until The Greatest Showman.
Oh
Have
my
you seen them now?
No, I have not seen them.
Oh my
Guys, I want to
gosh.
watch them.
Logan. Oh my goodness.
No, you need to start somewhere other than Logan. That's the last one you need to watch.
Yeah, but
That,
the rest of
that
them
movie
blow.
didn't come out that long ago. That was like
X-Men. All right.
3, 4 years ago.
Anyway,
X-Men are pretty
he's
good.
fighting these guys. He's got 12 bullets. We're back to his, where he drops them off.
Jumps
Um,
off.
Jumps off the freeway.
Yes. And
Maximum effort.
And it gives like the little joke, because all the bad guys drive the black SUVs.
yes.
So he's like, there they are. They're the bad guys.
Yeah. And
What?
his catchphrase comes out: maximum effort.
Mhm.
Maximum effort, yeah.
Where he does, well, sometimes he does a lot of effort, and sometimes he does nothing.
Yeah. What's the first thing that he does? He jumps off of the bridge and right into the sunroof of the black SUV. I just remembered that.
Yeah.
And they shove his face. He's like,
Yes.
"Oh, Corinthian leather."
Corinthian leather.
Have you seen this man? And there's just so many of like these little like quips where
Yeah, he
and
shows him the picture he just drew, and he
He
goes, "Have you
drew.
seen this man? I'm looking for
And-
Francis."
before this happens, it's already well known. Like you said, your favorite character, Riley, is Deadpool,
Yeah.
and you got to be happy because Ryan Reynolds is already the perfect Deadpool.
Absolutely.
Like these quips are like he nailed it already.
Mm-hmm.
And he grabs like the, I don't know what it is, like the thing you push like for
The,
cigarettes.
yeah.
I don't know what it's
cigarette
called.
lighter.
He puts that in a guy's mouth.
That's what it is.
He gives
He says,
He puts it on
This
his
is-
head first. Then
Yeah,
he sticks it in his
and he
mouth.
tells him not to
Oh
swallow.
my gosh.
I've never said this in my life.
I've never said this in my life. Don't swallow.
Then he kills the driver, and then another car comes up behind him. He screams and he kicks his foot into like the steering wheel, and it like crash, blah, everything explodes.
he uses his foot to steer the car.
Yeah,
He straight up sticks his foot and like hooks it onto the steering wheel and then kicks so it
Yes.
turns the wheel super
Is he
hard.
screaming while he's doing this? Because there were like parts in the movie where he would just scream like a girl, like
I
just
mean, probably.
loud.
I assume so.
I just kind of remember that.
and then as like the car's flipping, like he's like giving the guy the wedgie, the thing's flying out of the guy's mouth.
Yeah.
There's this one dude who's about to get his head like taken off with like I don't know what it is,
Well, I
like
don't
some
know
sort
what
of
it was.
some
I
sort
didn't
of
see it.
chain.
It was
it's
the
from
bike chain.
The motorcycle
was
chain.
Oh,
it?
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense. That would catch. Oh yeah, probably would.
Yeah,
And
very
there's
gory.
and there's this one guy who's about to slam into a
That's the motorcycle guy.
yeah.
He grabs him by the underwear and then whips him over the car as it's flipping.
And then
It's-
like it slows down and like Deadpool looks to the camera. He's like, "Did I leave the stove on?"
Slow motion, just like about to crash. And then we meet who I don't know if it ever like says his name or if Devin you know, but he's like a guy and he comes. I don't know. He must not be a main guy. I
He
think
does
he's
the
just one
he
of
does
the
the bullet thing next,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
He
It
just
then
shoots the
counts
car.
down.
Well,
Which-
because Deadpool's in the car. Deadpool's in the
Yeah.
car.
Just
Or
some
behind
guy.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's just some guy, but he like shoots the car and he like keeps peeking up and he just keeps getting
Well, he
shots
goes,
fired.
I bet you're wondering why the red suit. So you can't see when I bleed.
Yeah.
See, this guy gets it. He's wearing the brown pants.
He gets
Which-
mad.
Dude, that is an old joke. Like
He-
that is back
yeah.
to like I don't quote me on this, but from what I've heard through like super limited research, like pirates would say that. to like each other. Like they would wear red so like their shipmates wouldn't see them bleed. So like that's an old joke.
Yeah, I used to hear a joke. I'm not gonna say it, but it's like talking about how like there's like 5 ships on the horizon, and they're like, "Get me my red shirt."
Yeah.
and then there's like about like 50 ships. He goes, "Get me my brown pants."
So he does the bullet thing, which is impressive, and it's also funny because there's this one guy who shoots him in the butt. He's like, right up Main Street. And then he shoots him like he shot him once, he's already dead, and he shoots him 2 more times, and he's like, stupid, worth it.
Yes, because he only has so many bullets. Then we see which I think is very, very cool. He like jumps up, flips over, super slow-mo. He's got 1 bullet, and these 3 guys in line, boom, boom, boom. 1 bullet, he headshots them all.
The double kill.
Cool.
Triple
kill.
No, it was a double kill.
Was
Because
it?
the third guy stood
guy
up.
gets
he had
up.
it embedded in his skull. It wasn't.
So
he-
so
yeah,
Caffrey,
okay, that makes
you're a
sense.
medical dude. You can maybe explain. So like it went through the first guy's head. It probably got like a little dented, and then it goes through the next guy's skull. Which I mean, bones are pretty hard. So like it's probably getting like super like dented and like as it goes through each guy's skull. So it's like pretty dull as it hits the third guy.
Yeah, so like it's losing speed. It's hitting those bones, so it's slowing down. It's flattening the bullet.
Yeah.
So when it hits him, it's no longer a point. It's this flat thing smacking him in the face.
Which I mean, he's still bleeding, but
Oh, yeah.
Well, that definitely hurt. It knocked him on the ground.
I didn't put that together. That
And
was
then
the third
Deadpool
guy.
impales the guy with 2 swords.
2 swords.
This movie was released on Valentine's Day.
yeah, the poster of it says feel the love on Valentine's Day because it's a love story.
It is.
But he's kind of in this. He's in this state, like he has the swords, and he brings him up above his head.
Yeah.
He's looking at him, and we're at this scene for like almost half of the movie, and then it'll cut back, and now we're before how he became Deadpool, and we kind of learn that story.
So
Just a regular dude.
at this point, that's why I brought it up that it was released on Valentine's Day, because he talks to the people in the theater.
Yes.
He goes, "I bet you're wondering why you're here, huh?" Or like something like that. He's like,
With your girl.
Your boyfriend probably told you this was a love story.
It's a,
Yes.
it's a superhero movie. But that guy just turned that other guy into a sleeping kebab.
This is actually a love story.
Yeah, and then he explains how he met his.
This is going to be this whole show is just us quoting lines from the
It
movie.
really is. It
No,
was great.
I want to do 2 more scenes before we did that. Is like in the fight scene. We didn't mention it when he's like shooting at the motorcycle that flew by the car he's hiding behind, and he keeps missing, and he's like, "Bad Deadpool, bad." And then the second one,
shoots the guy in the head. He goes, "Good Deadpool."
and then the second one I want to talk about was
The someone wasn't counting.
yes,
I love that.
Yes.
he's like behind the window, and the guy's like he pops his head and goes jumps down, shoots all the windows, and then he reloads, shoots some more, comes around the car. He's just laying there
Like a sexy pose.
Someone wasn't counting because he
Which-
just
Used a whole round. Yeah.
When it adds another layer to like comedy when you think about it, because his scream, like it doesn't matter. Like he can't, him getting shot doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, most of this movie is going to be us just trying to explain how it looked, because it's a very visual
Yeah,
movie.
there's a lot of visual
It
stuff.
is very, very visual.
But like you said, it cuts back to him as like a regular dude before he gets his powers. And we find out that he's kind of
He's always had like a,
merc with a mouth. He's a literal mercenary who like carries out jobs to like all sorts of different things.
Yeah.
And this one happens to be like an intimidation deal because like and this scene is
I
set
think
up
it was supposed to be he was supposed to kill the kid.
He was supposed to kill the kid.
probably.
So
But he doesn't because he's like, I
it's
did
the
way worse.
Pizza boy, right?
Yeah, the scene is set up perfectly. Like he opens up, the guy who owns the apartments opens up, the guy who opens up the door, and he's like, I didn't order a pizza, dog. Wait in my crib. Like it's this really cringe white dude. And he's like, I did. He comes out of the bathroom. He's like, what are you doing in my crib, dog? And then like he pulls out like a gun. And he's like, burnt crust? God, I hope not.
Which I actually thought, like when you first see it, you'll kind of think that it's like the owner of the apartment that he's trying to get after. But it's actually the pizza boy. The pizza boy brings him in, and he's like, he like takes him and he chokes him up against the wall. And he's like, "Don't
Could
you
I
ever
get a tip?
compare."
Could I get a big tip?
He's like, I'm not here for you. He's like, no, I'm here for you. He's like, oh, thank God. He smacks him with the gun. He's like, not out of the woods yet.
Yeah.
Ease up on the bedazzling. They're jeans, not a chandelier. I watched this movie too many times.
Basically, it was just about a girl, though. He intimidated. He was like,
Yeah.
"Stay away from her."
He was
Don't
a
He
go
was
back."
stalker.
stalking her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
So
It's like just a little light
he
stalking.
goes, just so you know, I have several soft spots for young kids because I can see myself in you. But if you ever do it again, you will find out in the worst of ways that I have hard spots too. And he goes, that didn't sound right.
It didn't sound right.
When he's trying to get pizza out of the box, he has like his knife against the cardboard that's against his face. He could easily stab him.
But basically, yeah.
You
And then
find out that he has a sense of moral. Like
yeah.
he knows what's good and what's not.
He is your quintessential like
Anti-hero.
Anti-hero.
Mhm.
He does a good thing with bad methods.
By the way, I don't know if you
Dexter.
guys noticed it. When he comes back to the girl who ordered the hit, right?
Yeah.
Saying that he won't be a problem or whatever, he throws the pictures down. He made the guy of the apartment an accomplice. He made him take the photos while he held a knife or a gun to the guy's.
He stole his glasses too. He
Yeah.
stole the guy in the
Yeah.
apartment's glasses. And she calls him an interesting word though. Like, I mean, it's a goofy movie, but there's actually some legit
Serious,
character
yeah.
development going on here. She uses a choice word. She calls him a hero. He's like, nope, no, that I ain't. So he rejects, like, even though he does good, he rejects being a hero because for some reason he doesn't like that life of being a hero because it limits, it
It's-
100% does.
yeah.
Like, if you're a superhero, it limits what you can do.
Absolutely. But and then he's in this bar.
Then he goes back to turn in his card.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what was the bar called?
I can't remember. It's something
like
girls.
old lady or
It's something girls. I can't remember what it was.
it was a bunch of degenerates.
Pretty much.
Bunch of criminals, bunch of degenerates showing up.
Big biker gang, probably.
We
It's
meet-
like Sister Kathleen's or
Ooh.
something.
maybe.
Yeah, something like that.
On
then
the
we
way
meet-
there, by the way.
We meet what?
On the way there, he's walking down the street, right? Talking about, he just sack taps a guy.
Flicks a cigarette at him. Then we meet Weasel, like his best friend in the movie.
Who's the bartender?
Yeah.
Played by T.J. Miller.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I mean, he is objectively, he's hilarious in this movie.
Yeah.
Like the first thing he serves Wade a blowjob, which is a shot.
Yes.
He goes, "Why'd you have me do this?"
Well,
is that an actual drink or is it just
Yeah.
a thing Wade makes him make?
I think it is.
It's
a
an actual
drink.
thing. It's Kahlua. What was it?
It-
It was like Kahlua, Bailey's, and then topped off with whipped cream.
Mhm.
And he serves it to somebody, and it starts a fight. And the reason he did that is because they got a Deadpool going. It's like whoever dies first, whoever bet them to die gets a bunch of money, yada yada.
They get all of the money that's ever been put up.
Mm-hmm.
So you choose somebody that you want to see die or you think will die soon.
And I don't. Is it?
This is when we find out, because they're talking, and he's like, "Why'd you do that?" And he's like, "Well, I don't take the craps. I just disturb them or something
Yeah.
like that."
And then Weasel put
he puts
Ryan.
Wade on the.
Yeah, he put Wade up on the board for he thinks he's gonna
Oh
die.
my
soon.
God, you're the worst friend.
No, but the guy
I'm
that
sorry,
does
I'm
get
low on money.
beat up, they're like looking over him and they're like, "He's still alive. He's still alive. He's fine."
Yeah.
By
I
the
love when he
way-
picks up the bar stool. He's like, "It's a new bar stool."
Yes, that's a new bar stool. Boom, breaks.
But that's a legitimate way back in the day they used to see if
The
people
mirror?
were alive. The mirror. To see if like they're
The-
faintly
yeah.
breathing. You couldn't detect just the fog.
Genius. It's absolutely genius. I didn't even think about that.
And everybody gets upset. He goes, he's alive.
Yeah, they're
Aw.
disappointed. And I'm not sure. Does it? where do-
Apartment next? Is it the apartment? Do we get
No.
introduced?
She
No,
comes
she
walking
comes-
up.
Yeah.
She walks
They
up
meet.
to him,
Okay.
and he buys a whole round. He goes, "Soldiers of Fortune,
Yeah.
it's on me" or whatever. And she's like, "Wow, don't spend your money so fast."
And then Fat Gandalf
Yes.
slaps her butt.
Yes, and then they go back and forth on
About
like
how
who's had the
whose
worst
life is-
life. Yes,
And
it's
it's weird. It's real weird,
it's weird.
but it's cute. And
It
like
is.
it in their way, it's cute.
Yeah, and they tie it in later. But
Yeah.
I slept in a dishwasher box. You
you
had a
had
dishwasher.
box.
And then like a really actually kind of sweet scene. The wallet that he stole earlier from the guy's apartment, he gives her, what is it, $48?
He goes, "No, I think it was like
100 or is it 100 something?
I think it was 100 something."
100 some.
He goes, "What can I get for $283 and a
A gift card
gift
to
card, a yogurt gift card?"
Because she's a lady of the night.
True,
Yes.
true.
And And she
Not judging,
goes,
not judging. You know,
48
lady of the night.
minutes of whatever you'd like and a low-fat dessert.
And it's kind of cute. Instead of like doing what you think they're gonna do, they go play
balls and holes.
Balls and holes.
Skee ball.
Skee ball.
But then they do what you would
I
think
mean,
they
yeah.
would do.
After
Well,
after
I
they
mean,
No.
after
He
he
hits-
wins the Voltron ring,
He
okay.
gets the four mini lion bots go together to make one megabot.
And she gets an eraser.
She does get an eraser.
So like they bond a little bit, which is cute. And then all he has left is the yogurt card.
Yes.
And she's like,
Well, he gives her the ring, I thought. Doesn't he give her the ring? And she goes,
What can I get for this?
yeah.
she says like 3 minutes,
Yeah.
and then they do it.
yeah, and then they do it for
'Cause
like
he goes-
20 minutes.
And she goes, "How long can you keep this up?" And he says, "All year." And then they go
It-
all
all
year.
year.
Every holiday, like you can see, they're all themed holidays.
And then they played a good song in there.
My favorite thing of that whole scene is when they get the lint.
Happy Lent. They're sitting there not doing. Yeah, they're not,
Not
doing
doing
They're
anything.
reading books.
Happy Lent.
I like the what is it? The
National Women's Day.
National Women's Day. That one's funny.
was pretty
Nope.
good.
No.
But then,
so they're happy in their own messed up weird way.
but like the scene or the montage kind of ends, and they're in the bed, and he
At
was
Christmas.
like,
Yeah.
he's like, was it his, it was
He
his,
was
his
he
idea
was about
first.
to propose.
Yeah.
He
With a ring pop.
Yes, the ring time.
That-
well, you're supposed to do 3 months of
What-
wages.
Where do
He
you
doesn't-
where do you pull the way? Where do you
I
pull
don't
the
know.
ring pop from?
I don't know.
They suggest an area.
Yeah, they like pan backwards, and he's standing with his
Yeah,
pants off.
he doesn't have pants on, so it's implied.
Yeah. So he asks her to marry him, and she says yes. Right?
Sweet.
But, she was about to say something. She's trying to guess what he's going to say. And
I don't think she was trying to guess. She was gonna ask him,
if
and then
Yeah.
he jumped in.
Yeah, she was. She totally was.
go in the back door, and she was very cut off when he asked her to marry her.
Yeah.
They cuddle, and they take the infamous picture, right?
And she
Yes.
makes a Star Wars reference,
Yes,
Which one was
Empire
that?
reference.
Empire reference.
I missed it. What was
I
it?
can't remember what it was,
It was just a one
but
liner.
it's the dream. A hot girl making a Star Wars reference.
It was Empire.
Um,
It was Empire.
Then he gets up to use the restroom.
Yep. And then the movie.
It takes a
The movie.
sad turn.
Yeah.
So I was trying to predict this part in my head because it's been a while. And like I knew what happens, but so after this scene, we definitely find out he has cancer. He's talking about clouds in his X-ray, just cancer everywhere.
Yep.
But I was thinking like what happens with cancer, usually with prostate cancer, right? You pee blood, and I was expecting him like when he looked back down to scream or something.
Yeah, yeah.
He has nothing. He walks back and just passes out on the floor.
And it-
Out. Yeah.
And he talks. It's a good quote. I'm paraphrasing because I can't say what he actually says because he curses like every other
Yeah.
sentence. But he says basically like life, for the most part, is like pretty sucky. And every now and then there's like good hope spots. And he's like, now we return to our regularly scheduled program of like suckage, and like
Right.
he collapses on the floor. And then there's like
Then there's sad scenes.
then they're like dealing with it and talking about it, and it brings up kind of a real thing where it talks like obviously cancer is a very real, very sad thing, and it's like he brings up I think a thing that a lot of guys feel where he just wants to leave, like he doesn't want her to see him when he's not him anymore.
Yeah. So when they're actually in the office talking to the doctor, she was like, okay, what do we need to do? What are the next steps? And he is just zoned on her, and he's
Right.
like, I'm gonna leave her. I'm gonna die. She's not gonna have
He's
me
like,
anymore.
was he like studying her face?
Yes,
yeah,
he-
he's
I
like,
think it's the first time he's ever
She's
seen it.
going through every scenario A through Z, and he's just
And he's studying her
studying.
face.
he's just trying to remember that, which I'm like, oh my god, Deadpool.
Yeah.
No need to be sad.
that
no
part
need,
got me. I
no
was
need to
like,
be
oh
no
gosh.
need to be so sad. It's kind of like Red Dead
yeah.
Redemption when you're like crazy cowboy shooter game and then you finish the game and you're just like, oh,
Super sad.
oh
I
okay.
know. Out of pretty much, I mean, the superhero movies that I've seen and the stuff that I know about them, this and Spider-Man are probably my favorite stories behind how they got to be the superhero. I think it is a cool. I think it is
Well,
a
he's
cool
not
story.
a superhero, so
Well,
let's just get that
right,
straight.
but
His
you know,
powers.
He's an anti-hero.
How he got his
His-
powers.
yeah, his origin story. Yeah, his
Right.
powers. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know where it goes next.
So
Does it go back to
then
the
it
highway?
goes-
No,
No, he goes to the.
Oh, the shady dude.
drink.
Agent Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's sitting there at the bar talking with Weasel.
By the way, we were within 500 yards of a school, so you might.
Yeah, so he just keeps making jokes about. Okay, so he goes back to the bar where his buddy works and where he works because that's what he does. And his buddy goes, "Well, at least I'm gonna win the Deadpool," or something like that. And he goes,
It's
well,
like the weird card.
yeah. Says the guy over there in that corner has been he's been here for a while. He asked for you by name, so he walks over and Wade sits down. Has a conversation with the guy, makes a bunch of references that he's a predator,
Like a pedophile.
or a pedophile, and then he leaves him. So
Well, the conversation basically, he was like, "I can save you. I
Yeah.
can literally reverse or cure the cancer," and
Wade's like, yeah, okay.
yeah, he's like, "Okay, yeah, whatever," and then he walks off. But he has it in his mind. He's like,
We're
huh,
300
maybe.
feet of school.
yeah.
You forget that he walked in with like a buttload of brochures that she gave him.
Yeah.
It was like China, Ukraine, and like
One of them he says, "Isn't that where you go to get cancer?"
And the Polaroid picture that they took in the bed is now hanging in the bar on
Ooh.
like the little door.
I never
thing.
thought about that, but that has some consequences for later.
Absolutely.
But so it's like, I don't know how long later it is, but he gets to the point where he's like, yeah, I can't do this. And
Yeah.
like it's
doesn't
messed
want
up,
her-
but
he
I
doesn't want her
understand.
to see him weak.
Yes, that's the
It's
next,
really what it
which
is.
is the next scene. He's crying. He wakes up in the middle of the night, or she wakes up in the middle of the
This
night,
is
and he's like
it's
crying.
so
And he
good.
talks about
He had a Liam Neeson dream.
Yes. Yes.
at some point you just gotta think
Something
he's a
about
really
his
bad
daughter.
dad.
After 3 movies, he's just a bad dad.
But yeah, and then he leaves, which
leaves.
it's kind of sucky to leave her in the middle of the night without telling her, but I understand why, because
I
he
do too.
think
doesn't
at
want to tell her.
this point it jumps back because then it shows his whole scene. Of
Yes. Yeah, he
Yeah.
leaves, and then it shows the scene where he's
because he
stabbing the
calls
guy,
and then they go back to the bridge.
Okay.
where has
He's
this
trying
guy
to
above
find
his head and
Francis.
swords.
He's looking for
Francis.
He gets him.
He
finds
shows
him.
up.
He finds him.
He goes to the first car and he's not in there. He flips out.
He checks one car. He's like, oh my god, he's not there.
This is when it cuts to the X-Men mansion. And
Right.
Oh,
on
right,
the news
right.
is
And we meet-
this large pile with a man in a red suit causing a bunch of chaos.
And Colossus knows immediately who it
Yeah,
is.
he's like, man in a red suit. Yep, let's go.
What is it? What does he call her? What does he call the girl?
Supersonic
I have it.
Teenage
Probably
Warhead. Negasonic.
Because her name is Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
Yes.
What the?
That's the coolest name ever.
It's like Negasonic. We have mission.
Yeah.
I love
Colossus.
Colossus. His Russian accent is great.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they go.
He's the CGI character, by the way.
He is a CGI character. No big metal man in this one.
No.
But so they go to the freeway where Deadpool's like interrogating.
Francis.
Francis.
No.
He finally
Finds
gets
him.
him.
We missed a little bit there where like Francis comes flying by on a motorcycle.
Oh, yeah.
Deadpool
And then he
does
knock-
a
yeah, I
cool
mean,
flip,
and he knocks him off the bike.
throws a samurai sword through his tire. He slams into the car Deadpool is hiding behind most of the time. And then he just starts beating the crap out of him. Doing like lining up for a field goal, kicks him in the head.
Which none of it really matters
Right, because he can't feel
because he
pain.
can't feel anything.
Right.
Francis,
Which-
all of his nerve endings are gone, so he can't feel any pain.
But he still gets to stab him.
Yeah, he
is fun.
sits him up, he stabs him in the shoulder, and then the X-Men people come.
He
and they're
reaches
like, "What are you
back.
doing?"
He's about ready to punch him again, and he hits Colossal in the junk. He's like,
Dad?
Dad?
Dad? That part was pretty cool.
And then as
Well, and then it cuts
And
back.
then he says,
Nope.
No, he goes, this is where turns sideways. And he gets, like,
Chucked back.
thrown across by Colossus.
Oh, right.
And then it comes back.
I
Right?
think
Yes, it cuts back to now we are seeing him. He wants to get the treatment. He wants to get this cure or whatever. And so he goes to this place, super sketchy, and it's like this hospital, but it's not a hospital. And the first thing he says when he's like on this gurney or whatever, and he's like, "Oh, this is a very sanitary place," and it's like underground, super creepy.
Is that when he gets dropped onto the gurney and he's like, oh, I thought it'd be a little warmer?
he
Yes.
tells him not to make the super suit green.
Yes,
Which
yes.
is a callback to him as Green
Green
Lantern.
Lantern.
Oh, Ryan Reynolds, early 2000 Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, But then he
Yes.
gets on the
On the gurney thing, he's like, "Could I ask for like warmer hands, please?" And he gets thrown on the table, which is ice cold. He goes, "And a warmer chair."
We meet the strong girl, played by Gina Carano, I think, or is her name,
Strong is an understatement.
on Mandalorian.
Yeah, she's from the
Oh, is she in the
Mandalorian?
Mandalorian?
She's in the Mandalorian. She's
Was
still
on
need to
was
watch
on
it.
the Mandalorian.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
She
because
made some-
of that thing, because she's a conservative, she got fired.
then
That's
she
right.
died.
That was her.
Yeah. So she's got obviously she has her genes have been mutated to where she has super strength.
Well, that's basically
And-
he's like in a lab,
Yeah,
basically.
he's in a lab where they make
with
super.
a bunch of different people, and you
people.
see how some of these mutations have gone sideways.
Oh yeah.
But like this dude's got spikes sticking out of his back. This one dude's like just like
Deformed.
rolling back and forth. He's like
Yeah.
screaming, and it's like so like. And what's interesting about it is, when he gives him the serum, he says that like this will potentially reawake the mutant genes within you. So I'm curious, like I think it's been established in like the previous X-Men movies that only like a certain amount of the population of humanity has the mutation gene. But like if you have an inkling of it, this I guess whatever this juice is will awaken it.
And then we meet Francis. Before all of this, so this is like way before obviously the whole fight's going down. We meet Francis, and
He explains his power, sort
Yeah.
of, and what he's there to do.
We are first introduced to him as Ajax.
Yeah.
Yes.
he got Ajax from the cleaning supply. That's a Deadpool.
Yes. So he introduces himself as Ajax, and Deadpool does not believe it. He doesn't believe that's actually his name.
That's what he says. Yeah, he's like he got it from the soap.
He
got
rips
it.
he rips the tag
That's-
off
that's
his. And so like to reawaken the gene to like fulfill the mutation, they have to put his body underneath severe stress, which means
And
torture.
yeah.
And they put him through.
It goes through like a
Yikes.
montage of
Yikes.
just absolute awful torture devices that
Put
he's
him in
been
a
thrown
box
into.
full of ice. They
Constantly
shock him,
punching him. Yeah.
punch
Yeah,
him.
it comes up, hang him from the ceiling, punch him, shock him, hose him down with a water hose with like full power and
Fire
freezing
hose,
water.
yeah.
It's not good.
He looks horrible. He
Oh, yeah.
looks
And-
horrible.
Well, he's also dying of cancer.
Yeah, no, I know.
You think that'd be enough stressor, right? Because
Honestly.
cancer is just awful in your body.
But like Riley said, I figured that and you know what, it also is funny that Ajax or Francis says that a sense of humor never makes it through this place, and he's like, oh, we'll see about that.
Yeah.
But
So-
what Riley noted is a good point. It's like, why didn't they just do the final test first?
Honestly.
They want him to suffer.
That was my thing.
Probably.
He's like, you can't step it up from 24/7 torture, guy. You know, and he's like, oh, that's what you think.
What you think.
Which is also why I think this worked, like this serum, because you saw so many other people. I mean, it was not working, clearly.
Well, if it
They
didn't work, he would just be killed. It
I
wouldn't
mean, they
mattered.
have some other people. They have people that it did worked on. Like you see later in the movie, she's injecting a guy with a collar on. And that was the plan that they had for Wade, is to make super soldiers.
Right.
See, the thing is
Ooh,
like,
Captain America.
I think it's also another way of like brainwashing, to like breaking them down.
Yeah.
Like, they do it in the military to make you more obedient and whatnot. But think about like when they brainwash like prisoners of war and whatnot. They torture them constantly to give up information and eventually break down and give to the other side. And so they'll be more lenient when they have to be controlled by that collar. I feel like that's the reason behind it too.
Oh, that's interesting. I wonder if that's why Wade didn't break, because of his military background.
He's been through some stuff.
Yeah. But so they put him in this tank where like the thing is where like the oxygen will drain slowly, and when the machine senses his brain waves start to lower, then it'll pump a little more C2 in, and it'll keep him balanced there of like suffocating and like
It only pumps in oxygen.
In between having enough air to breathe and passing out from not enough air or not enough oxygen.
So if the heart rate starts to slow, they take away oxygen,
Mhm.
and then the brain waves begin to drop. They add oxygen.
Yeah,
So it's mainly just whether or not there's oxygen in
It's
there
just
pumping
constantly
CO2,
suffocating.
basically, yeah.
which would suck.
And they leave him there for the weekend.
But it works.
Yeah.
It does.
He does mutate, and he turns into
Looks really
His
gross.
skin, it like he's gets put in this
It's like
tube.
pus. It looked wet. Like everything on him looked wet.
When they opened up the thing, right, and like you as the mutation is happening, you see like it's seeking through the skin and whatnot. But he turns his head right on the thing behind him, like his headrest. There's like pieces of his skin that's like stuck against like the headrest.
Gross.
Yeah.
And like what you said, I wonder if this was like maybe like a layer underneath the skin, and then the later fire is what like cauterizes it.
Because he does look smoother later on in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, that's what I thought.
It almost looks like it's burned or like burned over anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But so this happens, and he's like freaking out, obviously, because he's like, "What do you guys do to me?" And Ajax is like, "Dude, I cured you. Yeah, I'm actually quite jealous because now your body is beating the cancer, faster than
just as fast as
it's growing or whatever." Yeah.
And then he says the line. Deadpool says the line. He's like, "I didn't just beat cancer. I beat everything." Or
I didn't just beat El Cancer.
Yeah.
El Cancer.
Yeah, he's like, you know what cancer is in Spanish? El Cancer.
So the thing is, I don't know why they didn't put the collar on right then and there, right? He now has super strength.
Because they shut him back in it. Because he was
not because they had to, because they wanted to.
I'm just saying, you could put the collar on and
No,
shut the door.
Well, the collar shuts off your powers.
That collar, no, that was a control collar.
That's the control collar.
So they couldn't just act on their own free will. That's why they're selling them.
It shocks them like out of consciousness if they don't do it.
They changed the collar in the second one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole different collar. This is a tiny little one that they sell to mercenaries to be controlled.
I should have read the books on the different types of collars. But
dog collars, cat collars.
So they shut him back in just because Ajax is a jerk. Yeah, basically.
But Wade headbutts the
Gina Carano, the strong girl.
Strong girl.
She, for some reason, she has a match in her mouth all the time, which is weird.
Did we ever learn why?
Just put a toothpick in your mouth.
I think you said it was an oral fixation thing. Like she had to have something in her mouth.
He was asking if it was, though. We never get told. Yeah. And like even then, like Devin said, it could have been a toothpick.
Yeah, I don't know why a match out of all things, but
I have to look that up.
More
later.
dangerous.
It doesn't matter because movies don't happen if it wasn't for coincidences. And if she doesn't have a match, then Wade doesn't escape.
Right. Yeah. So he lights the match and then throws it down next to the oxygen thing. And then he passes out.
It go boom.
Yeah, the fire goes up the oxygen tank.
And I don't think Ajax realizes that like anything nefarious is going on because he's just down there putting out the fire. He thinks it's like just some just random explosion.
And then he sees the empty tank that Wade was in.
Ryan Reynolds' workout routine.
Yeah, I thought that when I saw like the Christmas scene when like he's.
Oh yeah, he took off the ripped. And they has fight, which I don't know if it's interesting or dumb, because it's a guy who can't feel pain versus a guy who can't die.
Yeah,
that's kind of how I felt. Like how they were like when they were fighting most of the time. I was like, "What's the point of this?"
And then Ajax turned him into a candy cane holder.
True. T2, I don't know, maybe T2 reference.
Okay.
If anybody's seen Terminator 2.
Yeah. But I think what the thing is with the whole fighting thing, I think the acting would have been hard for the guy who played Ajax. Because you can't respond to pain.
Flinch at anything, yeah.
And so there is a fight scene later on. He grunts and stuff because he's being hit. And I'm like, maybe because the air is being, like he's hitting the air. I don't know.
Well, so after this, Deadpool rises from the ashes.
Quite literally rises from the ashes.
Because he burnt the building down.
Oh, and also he made a friend there too that was going over the treatment, and Wade inadvertently kills him by setting the fire.
Yeah, he looks at him as he's like impaled by this thing,
and he can't do anything because he has a. Is it through his heart or is it the other side?
It's like right in the center, like just off to the side. So I'm guessing heart.
It's through him.
It hurts.
It's through his chest.
And also the steel beam is curved, so like he couldn't really pull himself up until like the building collapsed on him.
Well, the thing is, where does the iron bar, the steel beam thing that's going through? When he wakes up, that's no longer.
I wonder
there.
It melted.
I wonder if it's the. I wonder. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the bar.
You see it in two different pieces.
I wonder. Yeah, the bar. This body dissolved the bar.
Ooh, that could be a thing.
That's what I imagine. Anyway.
Yeah,
kind of like with Wolverine in one of the movies, he gets a bunch of bars in his body and it just breaks apart because it dissolves the rebar.
Yeah,
and their regeneration is, I think, pretty similar in the comics, but I have no idea because I don't read the comics that much.
Yeah. So he rises from the ashes, and then he starts hunting because he does not want to look like this anymore.
Yeah. Where's Francis?
In order to be with Vanessa, he can't look like he does.
He's got to fix the ugly bug.
Well, and Francis told him that he would. He said, "I have a cure for that. See you later."
True.
Yeah, but then he went. So he tried to catch him.
Yeah. Then he cuts back to the overpass scene where Colossus is yelling at Wade about, you need to be a better hero.
Oh,
this and that.
Has he broken his hands and legs yet?
Yes.
Yeah, he broke his hands and legs because he was throwing a hissy fit at Colossus because he wouldn't let him do his thing.
He
punches Colossus, so he breaks all of his bones.
And so Colossus puts handcuffs on him and drags him away, and he's like, we'll take you back to the school and see the professor. And he's like, McAvoy or Stewart, because it's the names of the two Professor X's. Anywho,
and he'll take me dead or alive.
I'll take you dead or alive.
I don't know if I missed it. Did you guys talk about when he first did the uppercut into his balls?
No.
Because your poor wife. And then he kicks him once already. Did you guys talk about that? And then the one-legged man. Did you guys talk about that? Okay, I was reading some over here.
No, we didn't talk about it, but yeah.
So and then you ever seen 127 Hours? He cuts off.
Spoiler alert.
And he's like, "Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret." And I told Riley this last night. Why he says that? While the blood squirts in Colossal's face, and he says, "Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret." That's the title of a book of a girl having her first period.
Really?
Yeah. So I didn't know that.
No.
I didn't ever.
I heard that last night too. I was gonna look it up. I was like, "What is that reference to?"
And yeah, that's where it comes from. And then he flips off Colossus with the severed hand, and he hits rock bottom in the garbage can.
Yeah.
Goes home, and he's been living with this.
We meet his
roomie.
His roommate, who is
it's a blind. It's a blind
old lady.
black lady. And she is packing heat, dude.
Yeah.
She got guns all over this apartment. And they have some funny banter, like with the Crocs, the IKEA stuff, and it's all good stuff. But Wade has failed on his lead for Francis.
Because that was his final thing, was the overpass.
Right.
Because he knew Francis should have been there.
It was a whole year in the making.
Right.
Yeah.
And then
which he kept calling Christmas.
And then he has to go warn Vanessa.
Yes, but he still was afraid
because Weasel told him that Ajax and the strong girl show up to the bar looking for Wade because I guess they've seen him around. Then they see the picture at the bar that was left there previous, and they're like, "Oh crap!"
Well, because they almost get it. Like Weasel almost gets away with it. He's like, "Never seen him in here." Long pause.
And they see the picture.
And they see the picture. They're like, "Oh, okay."
In this thing, he could have said he's dead because.
Well, no, he did say he's dead.
No, he said I haven't seen. I don't know who you're talking about. He never says. Cause I was thinking you can play you did know him.
Well, Ajax knows he's alive.
Well, yeah, but
because he took off the mask.
But you could play it off as that you're his friend who thinks he's still dead.
Oh, and Ajax and the strong girl could have 100% died in that scene.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Because they all had the guns on them. They could have just shot him and killed him right there.
They hung Weasel up, and everybody pulls their guns out.
Because she's super strong and he can't feel anything, but they can both die.
Get shot, and die. Yep.
So then Weasel tells Wade. Wade nuts up, and he finally goes and tells Vanessa, but it's too late. Ajax and Strong Girl, wish I knew her name.
Strong Girl.
Kidnap Vanessa, and they go up to this. Looks like a helipad from the MCU, but
I'm pretty sure it was a boat,
was
a
it a
boat yard.
Oh, an aircraft carrier. Is that what it was? Okay. So they have her up there.
Yeah.
And they put her in the tank, which is just not cool. They put her in the oxygen tank.
Well, yeah. Let's talk about the car scene. Because
and then on the way there, Wade tells his friend, "I need all the guns. I need all the guns."
He gets all these guns
he's
loaded together,
pissed.
and No, but the lady, whatever her name is, she's like, that's all of them in the house. He's like, no, it's not. She's got a Glock in her like leg or something.
Which comes back later.
Yeah, she's packing. And so he gets Colossus and
Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
That's what it is. And
the angsty teen.
They get into the car with
which that's the most unrealistic part of this movie is how did Colossus get into the taxi?
He didn't fit. He was bent.
Yeah, it cuts to them being in the car, so we don't really see how he gets in there. But
and I love and then right. And so this is like their conversation, I guess. Yeah. This is like the only scene we can play because every other scene.
Her name is Angel Dust.
Angel Dust.
Yeah, that's kind of a dumb name.
All right, so this is the scene of them in the car.
Oh, so, any luck winning Gita back? I tried to hold on tight, Mr. Poole, but Bandhu is more craftier and handsomer than me.
Well, I think you're pretty darn cute. Dopinder? What was that?
That was Bandhu in the trunk.
Bandhu?
My romantic rival, Bandhu. He's tied up in the trunk. I'm doing, as you said, DP. I plan to gut him like a tandoori fish, then dump his carcass on Geeta's doorstep.
I did not tell him to do that. Absolutely not. You got lost in translation. Dopinder, this is no way to win Geeta's heart back. I'm so proud of you. Drop Bandhu off, safe and gentle-like. Kill him, and then win Geeta back. The old-fashioned way with your boyish charm. Kidnap her.
He's super dead.
Oh! I presume a crisp high five?
For you, 10. Okay, guys, let's get out there and make a difference. You know what to do.
Knock him dead, Pool Boy!
Knock him Deadpool.
It's
Get it?
so good.
And then the music cuts up and he immediately curses, so we had to cut it. Like, and then what I love is as Dopinder drives away, like the music cuts up and then Negasonic Teenage Warhead's like, "Hey, you're forgetting something." And I love it. He goes to his pockets on his chest like the duffel bag would be in his pocket.
Yeah, he left all of his guns.
His
in the
Hello
car.
Kitty backpack full of guns.
And
Tries
they
to get hold
they
of
wanted to do a cool shootout at the end, but they could not afford it. So that's the reason they left the guns.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Which kind of sucks.
So he then uses his swords to absolutely.
He says, I'm gonna
slice and
commando
dice.
this crap. Because
Wait,
the movie Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger, I don't know if you guys have seen that one. So what Deadpool does is he runs towards the bad guys as they're shooting at him. And in the movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Commando, he runs up with people with a Bowie knife and they're shooting at him and they just all miss. It's ridiculous.
So I have a question for you, since you know the background of like the financials of this movie, right?
Well, I mean, I know that one fact.
But like, could they physically not afford more X-Men? Because he brings that up later on.
We forgot this. Yeah, he goes and gets Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
One shot of them.
And he's like, "That's so weird. I only see you both in here. It's like the studio couldn't afford more X-Men."
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's 100% true. They couldn't afford those guys because they could have barely afford. I think Ryan Reynolds had to pay for like a something for a part of the movie because they couldn't afford it. Mainly because studios didn't think a R-rated Deadpool movie would do well.
Yeah,
They were wrong.
$785 million.
So Ryan Reynolds accidentally leaked a clip out on the internet of a part of the movie, and people are like, "Yeah, they should make a movie about that."
No, but he's running to the bad guys and then he hides and he rips off his underwear and he holds it.
Look away!
Like a
Look
flag.
away!
Yeah. He's like surrenders, like a surrender flag. He's got whitey tighties on, and so they're like, "Hold your fire." And he gets up. What does he say?
And that works. Like
Yeah,
that.
it
That
absolutely
works.
works.
He waves underwear up, and they're like, "All right, guys, we better stop."
Yeah.
He's waving underwear in the air.
I mean, these guys are just hired guns.
True.
You know? They're
And he
not
meets Bob.
murderers.
He
Yeah.
meets Bob.
Who's Bob?
He was
His
a
buddy
military.
from-
He was a military friend,
Okay.
and he was one
Back
of the
in
dudes
TGI,
shooting at him.
TGI Fridays.
Yeah. But Deadpool knocks him out.
Yeah.
He like
"How are the
continue.
kids?"
He kills everybody except for
Bob.
Bob. He knocks Bob out.
Oh, another thing is, right at the beginning when they first show up, he goes, Francis at the top screams, "What's my name?" And he goes, "I'm gonna spell it for you."
Yeah.
And he
Spells them
spells
all
it with
out.
the dead bodies.
And then another thing is the girl, Angel Dust.
Strong girl.
jumps off the top, and he's freaking
Superhero
out.
Superhero landing. Superhero landing.
Superhero landing.
She
My
does it.
whole problem with that scene, again, you know
Bad
how
on the knees.
it was that, but like when she fights Colossus, Deadpool earlier, he has super strength as well.
Oh, yeah.
Punches him and breaks his wrist,
Deadpool
his
doesn't have
legs.
super strength.
That's what I was gonna say though.
She punches like she's stronger than Deadpool, and
Right.
she's not breaking. So she's hitting harder than Deadpool, but
Right.
she's not breaking her wrists.
Right.
She punched him, and Colossus goes
Flying
flying back.
And Colossus is steel. Like,
He's a big boy.
So
and we find out in this moment what in this movie and the next movie what Colossus's weakness is. He's nice. He's way too nice.
Yeah.
Because as they're fighting, he's like, "Oh,
I don't wanna hit a
your
girl."
thing, your thing's out." Yeah. He's like,
Yeah,
"Oh, that's
her-
super nice." And then she, low blow, bro. That's not cool.
Like
in
her,
her
yeah,
nuts.
her like bra from her suit or something was like hanging out, and he was like, "Oh, fix
So he
that."
stops the fight and he's like, "Oh, you can put that." And then she nut shots him. And
She's
it's
like,
like,
"Oh, thank you." And for a split second, we're like, "Okay," and then nope.
And then so Deadpool has to get up to his girl
Mm-hmm.
because he's like putting her away in like the tank thing. So
Yeah.
Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
Gets underneath
Like a piece of metal?
giant piece of metal, and Deadpool rides it like a.
And he screams all the way.
Yes.
He almost doesn't make it.
No, he almost doesn't. He barely catches the edge.
And then they're like fighting with swords and axes for a little bit.
that's
and-
when he puts her in that.
That's when he puts
Oh,
her in it,
okay.
and
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
Deadpool throws his sword.
sword,
through it
so he
she
loses the
doesn't
sword.
Suffocate.
And then so for some reason they both lose their weapons. And then Ajax goes, "Fine, fists." And then Deadpool goes, "Sounds like your last Saturday night."
Yes.
That was a pretty cool scene though when they lose their weapons. Like Deadpool like somehow gets his thrown away, and Ajax throws an axe at him,
Yeah.
catches it midair, and throws it right back at him. I don't know. It was pretty cool.
And then
Explosion. The teenage girl.
true.
She tries to explode the girl because she's about to knock out Colossus.
Yeah.
Legitimately.
She's
choking him. Sorry, she's choking him. And so the teenage girl,
Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
yes, she like does a little charge thing and she like blows up, huge explosion. Well, now the entire
Yeah.
set is slanted, falling,
Whatever
collapsing.
whatever was like supporting the
The ship
ship
Whatever it was,
blew
yeah.
up.
was
So,
it
yeah.
just
They were-
before that, right?
They were giant cranes holding the
Uh,
ship up.
Oh yeah.
She gets out of the oxygen thing.
Yes.
Has his sword. She cut her hands on it. Stabs Ajax in the back, but just before that, he gets jabbed in the head with a knife.
Yeah.
Deadpool, yeah.
Ajax stabs Deadpool on the side of the head with
Like
a knife.
the temple. And dude, he's like on the ground, and it's funny. It's not funny, but it's kind of funny because he's having brain damage, and he's like he's like looking at his girl, and he's seeing like these animated unicorns from like
Yes.
Adventure Time like popping up, and he's just like over here making a heart sign to her. He's got a knife in the.
And she calls him an a-hole.
yeah,
But he does have an Adventure Time watch, right?
Yes.
he's
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
which there's a lot of dated references in this movie.
Yeah.
So
She
They
starts
had- they had-
sliding.
Yeah,
Right?
everything starts tilting.
Right.
Everybody's
Right.
sliding,
He-
and
so then he puts her back in the tank.
he
Yes.
has a good idea, and he throws her into the tank.
The wheel gets caught on like this rope,
Cable.
And
yeah,
he
cable
like
type thing.
somehow he like throws her off, and then he just kind of flings off himself.
Yeah,
And Colossus is running away with the two girls, even the bad girl because he's nice.
yeah.
We think we concluded that Negasonic Teenage Warhead's power wears her out significantly because she's
Mhm.
like,
yeah, he's
knocked out.
carrying her.
So after that,
everybody's
He-
fine.
yes, they Colossus picks up a giant rock that's on top of Vanessa's case. She
She's-
gets out.
And she's good.
Yeah,
fine.
she's fine.
Dead,
It's
by
like
the way.
boil. It's like
Who?
She would be dead.
bulletproof, kind of. I think.
Well,
it's
he
gotta
threw
be
a
something.
sword through it. So
But he's also super strong.
yeah.
Okay, but here's the thing: is like he threw his sword through it, and then he launched, and then he threw the whole thing
Right.
down, and nothing happened.
She would be dead.
Deadpool cheers
Absolutely.
because she's okay. He goes, yeah, and then he gets tackled by Francis.
Yeah.
They have one final confrontation, and and then he pulls out the granny gun.
Colossus
Colossus stops him and he goes, 4 or 5 moments.
For what?
goes on this long speech about how you got to be the good guy. Boom.
And, yeah, in the middle of it, Deadpool shoots him in the
were
head. He goes,
droning on.
I'll look for the next 4 minutes. For the next 4
Um,
moments.
And then he's like, "What am I gonna say to Vanessa?" So like he finally talks to her. He takes the mask off, and he's like, "Wait, I've changed, yada yada yada. She takes the mask off, and it's a Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman.
So he had that on the entire time.
Yeah,
He was looking through two different masks
with staples into his forehead and chin.
Yep.
Oh, that's why it hurt. I was like, how is this tape hurting really bad? No, he stapled it to his face.
But they make up.
Yep.
They kiss and make up.
She goes, with enough drinks and after a long, long day, it's a face that I could, and I'm not going to say the rest, but she could grow to love.
Well, and before, like, they do their little cute thing where he's like, you know, I grew up with a bunch of, 12 kids in this house, and she was like, you had a house, and then that's kind of how it ends. And
Which is, like, how their whole thing started, like, who has a worse life? He goes, oh, you have a house.
Yeah.
And then he plays Wham, and then...
and he plays Wham, and...
He pulls his phone out with Wham going.
That's another
As
one.
they're kissing.
Devin brought up, that's pretty hard to believe that his phone survived
that entire battle.
Ordeal.
She thought that he was dead this entire time.
Yeah.
Which is
she was
for
pretty
sad.
For years.
Multiple years.
Yeah.
But it's fine now. They're good.
Well, Devin, what'd you think about the movie?
Comedy-wise, very, very solid. I mean, there's nitpicks here and there. There's some outdated references here and there. But overall, I think every character does exactly what they needed to do for their part. And like ignoring, like I'm not gonna judge the movie for outside stuff with like what's his name, T.J. Miller.
Yeah.
Like no matter like how bad of like a person he is, like I'm gonna judge like in the context of what he does in the movie, and what happens within the movie is it's fine. It's hilarious. And yeah, I can't wait to do the next one because I think it just improves on what they do in this one.
Mm-hmm.
Bigger budget.
But yeah,
A
much
lot bigger budget.
and I mean overall, I think, I mean as far as superhero movies, it's like wow, very impressive. But I think in like the grand scheme of everything, I'd probably go with 9 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you were gonna drop that after you said that.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, what? I'm gonna go with the 9 as well, and because I was laughing through this whole movie.
Oh yeah,
and it's been a while since I've seen it, and I forgot how much I liked Deadpool. And one of the scenes I was gonna mention earlier, but when they're trying to find Francis, and he's going through all of his henchmen and like killing him, he gets to the last guy who gives it to him, the guy who gave him the card. He's sitting on top of the thing. Do you guys catch what he called him?
Yeah, he calls him Jared.
Jared.
Like from Subway.
Because he's been called a pedophile since the beginning. He saw
it's
him.
a running gag that he's a pedophile.
And he called him Jared. I just didn't know if you guys caught that or not. But
Yeah.
I'm going to go with a 9.
All right. Well, this is my favorite movie of all time.
For
One
real?
Of, yes.
Actually.
Yes.
It is?
100%. He's my favorite, like, anti-hero, favorite character in any comic book. Well, besides One Piece. That's a different topic, though. A completely different movie.
Anyway.
But yeah, so this, I give it a 10 out of 10. 100%.
Oh, wow.
Because it's just such a great story. So many good references that, like, even if you watch it a second time, you'll pick up a different reference that you hadn't seen the first. And it's just, it has that rewatchability that I look for in movies. Because most movies, I watch them once and I don't ever want to, I don't care to watch them again.
Right.
I think, no, that's definitely true. If you watch a movie and you're like, I never want to see that again, it's like, oh, there's probably something wrong there.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I think I'm going to have to go with a 9 as well. Maybe a 10. It's hilarious. It has great scenes. Ryan Reynolds. I mean, yeah, it's awesome.
Was
Great
that
movie.
our first 10 out of 10 that we've
For
done?
Riley. For Riley, yes.
I think I had one other. I think it was The Grinch, but it was only the first 3 quarters.
Oh, right, because he likes
And it falls to a
Christmas
4.
If you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything you want to let us know, go ahead and email us at silverscreenpod@gmail.com. We would love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for listening.